Although it doesn't really make sense that a planet that's absent of humans would somehow evolve to hunt humans.
I was just about to say, it's just like from the get-go, it's just it's an aborted fetus of a film.
Yeah. I know my fellow Englishmen have evolved to fight lions on a daily basis.
Exactly.
It's a daily threat we face.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Perfect Movie Podcast. This is part 2 of our epic Shyamalan episode. So if you haven't listened to part 1, click the link in the description to catch up. And now, the film you've all been waiting for.
We move on to After Earth.
Oh no!
This is
the death of Will Smith's career.
I watched this film for the first time on what was it? It was a 14-hour plane journey back to Hong Kong, and I had to I ordered I think I ordered 8 Singapore slings, and just to get through the film because I'm like, it. I'm not going to enjoy this film sober, and besides I can sleep it off on the plane, and it was just.
This I think is probably the most sort of quintessential example of Shyamalan being way too personally in control of everything. Because he's friends with Will Smith, right? He's been to his birthday parties, right? Apparently, and Will Smith basically goes to Shyamalan and says, "Hey, my son wants to be in a blockbuster, so we're making a blockbuster." And Shyamalan's like, "Yeah, all right," and that's how this film came to be, essentially.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. From what I hear, Shyamalan didn't really direct this movie. It was a more Will Smith kind of took over the direction.
But the marketing team kind of hid his name from the production.
Shyamalan? Yeah.
He appears in no trailers. His name is not once in there.
Well, to be fair, after his name was kind of brought through the mud for his last couple of films, that was probably a wise choice.
Yeah.
But it also means a lot of the blame for this movie is thrust upon Jaden Smith.
Not entirely.
This pretty much ended his career as an actor, at least.
Yep.
Which is a shame because he was. I will say he is good in Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the Karate Kid remake with Jackie Chan.
That one was
It was all right. It's nothing special.
Right. Yeah,
but this really kills it.
But again, it's a prime example of a great concept that's been utterly butchered by poor execution.
Yeah. Well, from what I heard, because basic premise, in the far future, Will Smith and Jaden Smith are on a spaceship that crashes onto Earth, which is now turned into everything has evolved to kill humans, but not the air, so basically so it's not the world of the happening, basically.
Yeah. Although it doesn't really make sense that a planet that's absent of humans would somehow evolve to hunt humans.
I was just about to say, it's just from the get-go, it's just it's an aborted fetus of a film.
Yeah. I know my fellow Englishmen have evolved to fight lions on a daily basis.
Exactly.
It's a daily threat we face.
But so they crash land. Will Smith is impaired and he can't move, so Jaden Smith has to go out and find a way to rescue them.
Yeah.
From what I understand, Will Smith originally saw a news story about this similar kind of thing, but it was obviously in a modern context. Father, someone on a hiking trip. Father got caught in 127 hours type scenario. Ooh. Son had to scale the mountain alone to get help. That's a really good film.
Yeah.
Why on earth they were let's make it a sci-fi movie and have the guy who did The Happening direct it? I don't know. This movie is awful. CGI is terrible. Jaden Smith. As we said, is terrible.
It's not even. It's just boring. It's just such a boring fucking film.
As I said with Last Airbender, I watched 20 minutes of it. I watched 5 minutes of this and I turned it off.
Yeah.
I got it on just as the spaceship is crashing, which you think would be really tense, and it's just not. And then afterwards, you've just got Will Smith. Here is your oxygen tokens that you must only use one at a time.
It does sound
Jaden, why can't you be more like your Fresh Prince father?
Yeah. He does sound like he's about to fall asleep all the way through the film. Exactly. He couldn't sound less interested in his son's imminent death.
The whole thing is there are these aliens that see people through their emotion. And the whole and I don't know why I bother remembering any of this, but the whole thing is that Will Smith's character, he's like a war hero who feels nothing. Dude, he has a heart of ice. He killed all of the aliens that see feelings. And then Jaden Smith, he's his son, obviously, and he wants to measure up to dear old dad. But I mean, as in the film, he never can in real life. I guess.
I hear his rap career is quite good. I don't know. I don't follow it.
I mean, I hope so, because otherwise he's got nothing.
His Twitter game was fire. That was
I've
the only
heard
thing.
this. Yes.
Wait. How do we know if mirrors are real if our eyes aren't real? What is the opposite of an apple? It's just
a pear, right? Surely.
Well, I'd say PC.
Yeah. Whoa, dude.
There's so many interpretations, man.
Exactly. Okay, so quintessence for this.
Sucking the life out of you.
Yeah.
Can we actually go with that?
Yeah,
Let's do it.
Cool. Yeah. That film was a marathon.
Because if you can make the Fresh Prince the most boring character in the world, you've achieved something.
To be fair, to fail in that magnitude takes talent.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to work at that.
Yeah. Good news. That's the end of Shitty Shyamalan.
Woo! Yes. We have 3 films left.
3 films left. Let's start with The Visit.
Yeah. I really like this film.
I think fairly good found footage movie.
Yeah.
Nothing spectacular, but nothing terrible.
Yeah, just like the whole premise of it. These 2 kids going to stay with their grandparents at their grandparents' place. I think that's it. Yes.
Yeah.
And they got their new video camera. Whoa, dude! It's like this is this not set in present day?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So these kids are just weird.
I think the girl wants to make documentaries.
Oh yeah,
that's why she's like practicing.
Yeah.
Essentially, and she's never met her grandparents, so she's like, yeah, this will be a fun experience.
Yeah. Exactly. And then it's slowly revealed that not as all as everything is not as it seems in the house, the grandparents' house. So the grandma, she comes out at night. They're not allowed outside their rooms after like 9 p.m. or something.
Yeah.
And she's like running around the house and like scraping the doors with her nails and just doing random crazy shit. And the grandpa's just like, no, everything's fine. Don't worry. Grandma's just like that. And the kids are like, okay, this does not gel. I am not chill with this, my guy. So it's revealed as a twist. Oh, actually, before this, like probably my favorite line in the entire film. It was in the trailer as well, and I think that's unfortunate. But it's where the grandma's making cookies, and her and the girl they're in the kitchen, and then she opens the oven. She's like, "Dear, can you please climb into the oven?" And there's a silence, and it's like, "So I can clean it." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." I mean, that was a shit way that I did it, but if you look
creepy,
at it's creepy as hell. So so they're actually mental asylum patients who I think killed the grandparents.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because both of the grandparents, they work at like a mental asylum. Was the whole thing?
I think you're right. Yeah, I've only seen it the once. I think that's about right. Yeah.
So instead, they come back and they spook the kids out. It's freaky. So what are we saying for this one?
Well, I think this was a bit of a renaissance for Shyamalan because really he was seen as a joke at this point.
Yeah.
So I think it was good that he returned to his roots and just went with a nice small little thriller. And again, low budget as well, only $5 million budget. I think I'll retract this if I'm wrong. Apparently, because he was so bankrupted basically from this, from not having success for the last few years, I think he mortgaged his own house to fund it.
Yeah.
Which it takes some dedication because usually other directors would probably just give up and say I've been shat on so many times by critics and fans and people don't respect my work, I'm just going to stop now. But he give credit where credit is due. He's dedicated, and apparently he is very grateful when he goes to premieres and he talks to the fans who are there. And he says, "I'm just thank you guys for coming and actually supporting me." Because
that's pretty cool.
I think from what I hear, he's a very nice guy in real life. Yeah. So
maybe that's why he was.
Would be,
maybe that's why he was able to make all these awful films was because everyone in Hollywood just likes him.
Yeah.
So they think, oh, you know what? Normally I tell you to take a long walk off a short pier, but because I like you, you know what? You can bankrupt yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
he will always
on my back.
have The Sixth Sense, and Unbreakable, and Signs to back up on.
I mean, that would be enough to retire on, really.
Yeah,
if you think about it.
Yeah.
But the fact he's still going means we could have a resurgence of actually good films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that I don't really like about this film is that the kids are too smart. I mean, they don't talk like kids.
But it's like in Signs as well. Like I always find kids in films and stuff like that either come across as majorly autistic or they're adults in kids' bodies. Like it's very difficult to do kids realistically because most of the time in these sorts of settings, kids just cry. Like they're useless. So they kind of have to up the age mentally, I think, of kids.
It's refreshing to have smart kids in a horror film, though, as opposed to the ones who are told, don't touch the weird monster alien ghost fin, and then 5 minutes later they touch the weird alien monster ghost fin and get killed. Like, and I think smart kids is a good quintessence because Sixth Sense and Unbreakable and Signs as well. Like,
smart kids.
Smart kids.
Smart kids.
Yeah, let's do it.
Smart kids then.
Spy Kids. What?
Spy Kids.
Spy kids.
Well, yeah, the ultimate Shyamalan crossover. Signs
fun.
with Spy Kids. Turns out the kids brought the aliens there to join forces.
I see Spy Kids.
Oh no.
Whoa. Okay.
And then it just turns around and it's on the TV.
Yeah. And then Split.
Oh, I love this film.
I love this film.
Same.
So good.
I mean,
It's not as good as his previous stuff, but I think just from the originality and the uniqueness of the Horde as a character is an amazing film.
I think
Horde isn't particularly unique. There was a Marvel character called Legion who you know.
We know you're superheroes.
Well, no,
but in terms of films, we haven't really seen characters
That's true.
like this
That is fair.
And Shyamalan said that the character that James McAvoy portrays was a character he actually wanted in Unbreakable, but realised that if he put him in Unbreakable, it would have been too much.
Yeah.
So he thought, I'll leave him out, and then years later, he was like, what if I come back and explore this character again?
I think
and
this is where I think Shyamalan redeemed himself a little bit in terms of the way actors are allowed to portray, because clearly McAvoy was given a lot more freedom in terms of what he could do here, and it got so well done that you can tell what character of the Horde he's playing just from the way he moves. Like whenever he switches characters, you can tell immediately, and that's ridiculous. Like I don't know how you can play that many people convincingly.
It's all in his face, just like because in this movie he mainly switches between three people. The Dennis, who's the kind of creepy OCD guy, Patricia, who's the old British lady, and then Hedwig, who's the 9-year-old who Oscar can do the great impression of.
Hi, my name's Hedwig. I go around on my tricycle and I kidnap girls.
And I think you could so distinctly tell who he was in each scene. And especially when he's doing the scenes where he's literally in the one take, the lights have all gone out.
No!
We're stranded here.
And the scene where he literally in like the one take scenes where he is switching between characters is so good.
Is really clever. And you believe it as well.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, it doesn't feel like one guy playing a bunch of personalities. You actually feel like they are separate people.
Yeah.
Really, really good. I enjoyed the movie even before I knew the twist. I think it was good. I think you do have to suspend your disbelief a little bit when you're watching it because you're like, okay, yeah, he's a beast and he can climb walls and bend, but that's a bit weird, isn't it? But okay, I'll buy it for now.
Yeah, although I can.
And then and then you get the twist and it's like everything makes sense now. In the same way, a bit like Sixth Sense, where you're like, why is Bruce Willis and his wife acting strangely? Oh, I get it now. It's kind of that thing. It's like,
Although I can sort of take or leave the female lead in Split.
Anna Taylor-Joy's character?
Yeah, like the whole her being abused and stuff pretty much was her only character trait. Like she didn't really do much besides trying to escape.
I mean,
there wasn't a lot.
I disagree. I liked her in this movie. I mean,
she
performance-wise, she's really good.
Oh, she is good performance-wise, and as performing the character, she did very well. But obviously the main spotlight is on McAvoy, and she is, to me, a vessel for McAvoy to do his performance because he needed somebody who wasn't just him to interact with. So she performs that role very well, but I really couldn't I wasn't particularly invested in her as a character.
I like how she interacts with the other girls. Like when when they're freaking out where they're tied up for the first time, and then they see that McAvoy's about to come in, and then she's like piss yourselves. Because then he's not going to be interested. Which then says more about her character. Like, Jesus Christ, you've done this before. That's horrific. And that she's also smart and thinking on her feet and being like, right, okay, this is a really bad situation. How are we going to get out of this?
A lot of good. I
think that's cool.
Yeah, a lot of good slow reveals because we sense that maybe she's got a history of an abuse, but it's not confirmed until a lot later in the film. And obviously that ends up becoming a big thing at the end. That's why McAvoy doesn't attack her. Because he's like, oh, you are pure because you are not pure, something like that. He said, which I thought was a bit weird. But I think it makes sense.
People who haven't suffered are impure because they don't understand what the world's really like. I think. But I think the one unfortunate thing about Split that got revealed in the film very well was the split personality. How he goes from Dennis to Patricia the first time. Because you see him walking towards the door, and you think it's a woman, right? You think it's a woman who's come to rescue him. And then he comes in the door, and it's McAvoy in a dress, which, waifu tier 2000 there. But,
God, yes.
But, because you knew the concept of the film, and you knew in the trailer this is shown off, that kind of got spoiled.
Yeah.
So that reveal could have been a lot more epic if it hadn't been in the trailer.
It could have been. I feel you did need it in the trailer to sell it, but I'm completely on board with you there. I love Split. It's really good.
It's a very good film.
I think knowing that it's an Unbreakable sequel, that's the big twist at the end. We see David Dunn appear, and he says because we see the news broadcast, and this woman's like, oh, this is like that guy on the train many years ago, what was his name? And he's like, Mr. Glass. It's like, oh, and I just smiled so much when I saw that. And then had to explain it to everyone I was with because they didn't know what was going on.
Although you can guarantee that is a prime example of Shyamalan talk right there. Yeah. So Shyamalan obviously wrote that line.
Yeah, it was a bit ham-handed, but I think in the moment you just caught up with it. Yeah. But a lot of people worked it out earlier because for many things, there's the whole bit where McAvoy goes to a train station and lays down a reef, which of course is a nod to Unbreakable, and you get a hint that he knows someone or himself was involved in that train crash somehow. Yeah. That's when he first becomes the Beast as well.
It's because they mentioned that his dad got on a train and never came back, but they don't mention how he didn't come back.
Yeah.
So far as the film describes it, it's almost like his dad just got up and left. Yeah.
And if you notice as an Unbreakable sequel, it's like, oh, that makes sense. But then without that context, you're kind of like, that's a bit weird. Yeah. The other thing as well is they bring back the Unbreakable theme right at the end of the movie. So the last shot of the film before we get that scene with Bruce Willis is McAvoy's in like an abandoned house, and like he's doing one of his great one takes with the mirrors, and all his personalities are coming out. And very slowly you can hear the Unbreakable theme building, and then it cuts to the split, title credit, and it's properly going for the Unbreakable theme, and it continues into that next scene. And like, if you know your movie themes, which unfortunately I didn't know the Unbreakable one that well at the time, a lot of people were like, wait a minute, why is the Unbreakable music playing now? And that's really good ways and like really good subtle ways that Shyamalan was given hints of what this movie was. The psychiatric character, the old lady, I don't know what her name is constantly talking about, oh, these people may develop powers and stuff like that, which again sounds stupid out of context. Yeah. You put it in context, it's an amazing movie. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. So what are we saying is the quintessence of Split?
Maybe a great lead performance. Because I think McAvoy was robbed of at least a nomination in one of the major awards. Yeah, I think again he will be robbed when it comes to next year's awards season. Yeah.
Although this time around it'll be a bit more understandable, which we'll get to.
Yeah, but he could still get he could still technically get a supporting actor nod, I think. Whereas he was definitely robbed for a nominee. I think just the timing of the movie, because it came out like right at the end of the year / January, which is never a good time for a movie to come out.
No. Although maybe that's why they sent it out, because they figured our Shyamalan film, put it in, where people are less likely to avoid it.
Yeah.
So great lead performance is what we're talking here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's say that.
Cool. And then that finally brings us to the end of the Unbreakable trilogy and the latest Shyamalan movie, Glass. So we all saw this together.
The film that split the audience. Had to get that in
again.
I'm just going to say it. This film does not work. It cannot stand on its own 2 feet. You have to have seen Unbreakable and Split beforehand.
I don't think that's a problem though.
Well, it's kind of like the Avengers, really, isn't it? The Avengers of the Shyamalan universe.
I think if you're going to use that as a criticism, you're wrong, personally.
Yeah, fair enough.
I respect it's difficult for you having not seen Unbreakable.
Yeah.
But I feel that, just watch one of those YouTube catch-up videos and you'll be fine.
Fair enough.
Here's the thing. We all came out with... We weren't really sure about it. We didn't particularly like it. We thought it could have been done differently. Since then, I have thought about this film more and I've listened to what others have said about this movie. And I'm beginning to like it a lot more. I don't think it's perfect. I think there's still a lot of problems with it. But I see what Shyamalan was going for, and I think he nearly had it. I think if he paced it a little better, I think if he had inserted a couple more scenes into the second act, that would help set up things in the third act. I think this would have been a darn perfect movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think the other reason why people aren't liking this movie is because the trailers and the expectations that people had was that this movie was going to be a big superhero throwdown between James McAvoy and Bruce Willis, and Samuel L. Jackson was going to be scheming in the background. And that is the movie for the first 20 minutes, and then it deviates into a psychiatric ward, which I loved. But I think a lot of people are like, this doesn't have enough explosions and fight scenes in it. And I feel a lot of people are basing it on an expectations and what they wanted the movie to be, rather than what the movie is. And I think if you look at what the movie is, I think it's good. Not amazing, but I think it's very good.
Well, it's kind of an example of marketing being done wrong.
Yeah.
Because it was billed as the Avengers of the Shyamalan universe, essentially.
Yeah,
all of his characters meeting up in one film and doing a throwdown. And I think it should have been that kind of film, personally. I think all of the building blocks were there for it to be that. And I think the Horde and Glass working together with the Unbreakable guy coming in and trying to stop them is, a great setup. And it could have been really interesting to see the different personalities interacting with each other and other people and Glass, much more than they did in this film, because they were stuck in a box for most of it.
Yeah.
But I think this whole psych ward kind of setup could have worked if it was in another setup film rather than the final meetup. So I think if, for example, you had a character like the Horde or the Unbreakable chap in there figuring this stuff out in its own kind of film, that would be preferable. But what they had here is they had the psych ward film that they clearly wanted to make, and then they had to chuck in the superhero throwdown at the end. Because that's what people came for.
I agree. I think
they felt like two separate films sort of smashed together, without a lot of care.
Yeah. I think that the reason a lot of people don't like this movie, and this is where I also have problems with it, is that David Dunn, or the Overseer, is mistreated entirely. He has his arc in the first movie, in Unbreakable, is he's a man who believes one thing and someone challenges his belief, and by the end he's thinking something else. His arc in this movie is he goes into it with one belief, and then someone challenges him and he thinks something else by the end of it. That is literally, he has the same arc. In the first one, he's told he's a superhero and he doesn't believe it. This movie, he's superhero and he's told he's not a superhero. And because what Sarah Paulson's character is like, but you're just making this stuff up, Yeah. And I think that, unfortunately, he is mistreated in that way. A lot of people don't like the way that he dies in the puddle.
Yeah, that was so dumb.
I admit,
the whole thing about Paulson as well, going over and being like, "Take my hand," like halfway through the Spec Ops dude drowning the life out of him, and he was just like, "Okay," and then after it's done, then she's like, "Yeah, well, fuck you," and then he gets drowned.
Well, one of Dunn's superpowers is that when he touches people who have committed crimes, he gets little flashes, basically. That's how he knows.
And that's where we get the last-minute exposition dump of who these people are, where they came from.
And this is the thing. If that exposition dump had been better set up throughout the movie, it would have paid off so much, because it just comes out of nowhere. It's like, oh, there's a secret Hydra shield cult that wants to eliminate superheroes to keep balance in the world.
Well, they had a good setup, didn't they? Because they had the clover tattoo on people's wrists.
It was,
and that could have been hinted so much earlier, and it would have bred suspense and a bit of like, what is this? Why does, say, for example, the therapist have it, as well as, say, a security guard or something like that? And it could have been sprinkled all the way through. But because it all got dumped in the last, 5 minutes, it's got no pathos to it, because you don't know why it's there.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm of the belief you could take Bruce Willis and his side of the story out of this movie, and it would make no difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. They could have made this movie purely about Glass and the Horde.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because their stuff is golden.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the I was a little annoyed that Mr. Glass doesn't talk for an hour. At the same time, I appreciate that slow build up to it, because obviously the idea is he's been not tranquilized, sedated. That's the word. For ages, so he can't speak and manipulate things. And then I love the slow build up to it. When he meets the Horde for the first time, it's great. And I love his overall plan. He doesn't. He just wants to show the world that we exist. And I love how the twist of this movie is that he succeeded. And we shouldn't really root for the bad guy to succeed, but he does.
We kind of do, yeah.
And we're kind of and the movie chooses what side is best. Is it Sarah Paulson's side about keeping things quiet, or is it Mr. Glass is about exposing it to the world? And
okay,
I'm starting to see it now. I think there's a lot of really good stuff in this. Unfortunately, the second act is very repetitive. It's very much, they're in the psych ward, and Sarah Paulson's like, you don't have superpowers. No, we do have superpowers. No, you don't have superpowers. Yeah, we do have superpowers. That went on for 20 minutes too long. If they had trimmed that, put in some things about the secret society earlier on, and then, just cleaned up little bits and pieces in the movie. Because I think that the direction, whilst overall good, some of the fight scenes aren't great. I don't think Shyamalan's great at filming fight scenes, to be honest.
He's not an action director.
No.
The POV camera is used too
It was
much.
quite inconsistent, the way that, for example, in the ending fight between the Overseer and the Beast, you have two people that the Beast has taken hostage inside of a truck, and then at one point it's shot kind of POV cam style from inside of the truck, and you get to see the Overseer slamming the Beast into the side of the truck, and you can see the dents that it's making on the inside, and then it switches to POV from the Overseer very suddenly, without any kind of in a pretty impromptu way, and I think that was very, very jarring, and that's pretty much exactly how all of the fight scenes in the film went.
It always feels very almost video gamey when films use that, because in games they do it because they literally don't have a physical person to focus on a lot of the time. They just have a set of hands. So when a game goes really clunkily throwing it to the ground, it's okay. But when you have a film with actors that you can do virtually anything, it does seem like a really cheap shortcut.
Yeah,
I think it was shot very flatly. The colors were not particularly nice. I mean, it didn't. Well, okay. I mean, you had the big pink room that they were in and all that, and that's lovely.
Yeah.
But
you wanted more of that, really.
Yeah, exactly. To
have
to have colors have particular meanings.
Well, you could have had each person's cell have a different color to represent their
they kind of do, because and this is a continuation from Unbreakable. Bruce Willis is typically surrounded by or wearing green, whereas Samuel L. Jackson is always surrounded by purple. And I think to an extent in this movie, James McAvoy is always surrounded by yellow. So I think you do get a little bit of that.
There's a little bit, but it's too subtle, I'd say.
Maybe it is a tad too subtle.
But one thing I would say is both the strength and the weakness of this film is the Horde, right?
Okay.
So the Horde is the strength, obviously, because we have the classic trio, Hedwig, Patricia, and to a lesser extent Dennis, because he doesn't really appear too much in
Dennis, I would have happily had more focus on Dennis, because Dennis kind of changes tune.
Yeah,
he's
Dennis,
kind of like, I don't want the beast anymore. Like,
but that was one of the interesting things that didn't really work out in the film, is that there is a sort of divide with the personalities as to whether the beast should be let out or not.
Yeah.
And there wasn't nearly enough of that.
Exactly.
But the thing that I thought was a problem is there were too many personalities in this. The thing is that, for example, you know when McAvoy's on the floor and he's pretending to be like, to fancy the guard and make him stand up and kind of stuff. I thought Hedwig had suddenly turned gay. Like,
no, it's a different personality.
Yeah, it's a different personality, but I thought it was Hedwig, because it's amazing that he can do that many personalities, but besides the like stereotypical jock, for example, it's really hard to tell some of the personalities apart.
Yeah.
I think the issue is that a lot of people took criticism with Split that we only got to see 3 or 4 personalities. So maybe Shyamalan and McAvoy were like, okay, the people want more, let's give them more. Which I loved, and it's funny, and I love that, you know, they're kind of, they are split over whether to be on to support the beast or not. And I love the bit where Samuel L. Jackson breaks into his room again, and the guy is like, "Oh, woohoo! Yeah, Team Beast all the way, guys! Woo!" And then it switches to someone else who isn't. I love that scene.
It is good.
But I completely understand what you're. I completely understand that problem. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like they didn't really appreciate the strength that that divide had in the Horde.
Yeah.
Because you could have had it that one half of the Horde, when they're in control of the light, they help the therapist and they help.
I mean, you could have just replaced
people.
David Dunn with that.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
you don't need him in the film.
Exactly.
You don't, but
They were doing it because they were billing it as this Avengers-style crossover, so they had to have him in it, but they didn't know what to do with him. Because compared to Glass and the Horde, he's not a very compelling character at this point. His character arc is kind of done. So he's not interesting in terms of plot either.
He's kind of just like Bruce Willis, just moping around.
Yeah, he's just hanging around.
He's got some fun bits
chilling.
with his son, who is played by the same guy who plays the kid in Unbreakable, who I thought was really good again.
Yeah,
and I do like the little banter they have at times. They what's the joke they have about the name? Like he was called like the Tiptoe Man at one point. That was fun. And again, there's good humor. Obviously, McAvoy is very humorous.
Oh, but can we give some credit to the Hedwig scene? When the girl is holding hands with Kevin, and then Hedwig comes back.
Wait, you're dating Kevin now?
That
the voice as well, but
that made me crack up like nothing else. Like that really was good. But it shows an understanding of the Horde as a character, doesn't it? Because it shows how just switching personalities, they are completely different people.
Yeah.
And again, it really emphasizes why was Unbreakable in there. Not at all. Yeah. Because he stole the limelight from people who really deserved it more, I think.
Yeah. We could have done with splitting this movie. Sorry. Taking this movie apart into 2, having the first movie be McAvoy and Jackson meeting up, and then the second movie being when Bruce Willis comes into it.
Yes.
That would have been better, but I get the feeling that because of how good Split was, there was a pressure to put Bruce Willis in this one.
I mean, they'd also heavily hinted at it as well.
And make it just a trilogy. And that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. When Split ends literally with David Dunn looking at the TV screen like, "Oh boy, that's another person I've got to find and lock up." You know.
Yeah, and it's kind of like if they'd then gone on to make a different film, everyone would be like, you know, they've been cuckolded. You know, they wouldn't know what to expect.
Yeah. Maybe if like the initial fight scene where they're both caught, like if only McAvoy had been caught. And Bruce Willis had escaped, and then he's on the outside with his son trying to get into the psych ward to take down both of them. Maybe that would have been better.
Yeah. Or maybe they could have been that Dunn figures out what the secret corporation is about, and then he tries to break them out to stop them doing whatever they're going to do to these two, even though they're his enemies. Yeah. So that would be interesting.
Yeah.
But instead, they're all sat in a 4x4 for the entire film, talking to themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I can do that. I don't need millions of dollars to do that.
So I think Glass, good film, good ideas, some good performances. I think this is my favourite Samuel L. Jackson performance in quite a while. He was really good in this movie.
Yeah.
He was.
Unfortunately, just not quite executed well. But I like the twist at the end. Again, could have been handled a tad better, but I liked how they were all sitting in the train station at the end, watching as the news basically takes off a bit.
Although, I was thinking, in real life, it would first start on 4chan. Guaranteed. Guaranteed it'd be on Live Leak, then 4chan, and then eventually it would make its way to the media.
Yeah.
This was the other thing when I saw the footage that obviously was being shown on the news, and it's like him bending. I was like, someone. Like, why don't these evil people who are trying to cover this up, why don't they just like debunk it and go, oh yeah, special effects and
That's
CGI
for the
and
sequel.
stuff?
It does seem very easy.
Yeah,
to
like, I was
discredit
kind
that.
of like, someone's going to discredit this stuff. Like, people put conspiracy videos on YouTube all the time, and like 99% of them are debunked.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking if I saw that stuff on the news, I'd think, what kind of con is this? Like,
oh, you guys are such empiricists. Have some faith in like.
I would have to see the Beast pick up my car in front of my house before I'd believe that sort of thing. Really.
So, what are we saying about the quintessence?
How
about super?
Okay.
Okay, come again.
What?
What? Pardon?
It sounds like you had half a thought there.
Yes. Okay. How about film should be split into two.
Too much at once.
Too much at once. Too many characters.
Yeah.
Too many characters, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? That sounds good.
Yeah, that works.
Too many. Yeah, I think that's the main.
But I think too much at once instead of too many characters.
Okay,
because
too
there
much
are a
at
few of
once.
his films where there's a bit too much going on for people.
Yeah, because that third act has 3 twists. There's the one where it's like Kevin's dad was on the train, which we already knew from Split. Then there's the whole secret society twist, and then there's another twist that the footage is actually out there. That was too much. Okay, so too much at once then.
We're here now. Okay,
we've made it through this great long journey to this point.
Yes, we've trekked far and wide, and I think we're all quite tired. So we're going to take a little bit of a break. But before we do, let me just reiterate how this is going to work. So we're going to take all of the different quintessences that we've collected from M. Night's filmography, and then we're going to mash them all together into the perfect M. Night Shyamalan film. I have been thinking about this constantly while we've been talking, and like about what kind of story structure it would be, what's the premise, what the themes would be. So we're going to have a little bit of a discussion about that, and then we're all going to take part in creating this lovely little film. So yeah, take care. We'll be back in a bit. Love you.
Bring me all your elderly!
I see dead people.
My suit's turned black. I like it, but I think it's something bad.
They called me Mr. Glass. What? No!
So, here we go. We're going to make a good film out of all these different quintessences.
So, our list of quintessences is, from Wide Awake, nothing. Sixth Sense, we need a twist at the end that changes the context of the movie, for better or for worse. From Unbreakable, we need a lead character who has a lot of self-doubt and tries to get over that self-doubt during the film. Signs, slow creepiness throughout the whole movie. The Village, wildly mismarketed. So we're going to pitch the trailer as well for this film, I guess, as well. Lady in the Water, gratuitous cameo, which makes no sense and Shyamalan should not have. The Happening, exposition dumps everywhere. The Last Airbender, I just wrote no shit racism, which I think was let's not give a shit about racism.
Yes.
After Earth, sucking the life out of every character we can. The Visit, smart kids. We need smart kids in this movie.
That's probably the best one out of the list, really.
Yeah. Split, we need a great lead performance that should get an Oscar nominee but won't. And Glass, too much happening at once at some stage in the movie. So as long as we tick all those boxes, we're good.
Okay. So
we've seen Oscar hopping up and down on his seat for the past 20 minutes.
Yeah, he really
something really important to
wants
say.
to.
I'm so excited!
But before we get into that, we tend to do the assembling the cast and crew for the movie. So
yeah, that's true.
M. Night doesn't have a regular collaborator. However, I would recommend James Newton Howard to do the score, because his scores are stunning, even in the crap movies. They're pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And he's worked with a few different cinematographers, so I think just any of them, I don't really mind. But let's be honest, because this is all about Shyamalan, mainly.
Yes.
Yeah, and then actors, he's worked with a few repeat ones. Bruce Willis, Samuel L. Jackson, Joaquin Phoenix,
Joaquin
the
Phoenix
other
should
one?
be in the film.
Yeah,
Joaquin Phoenix needs to be in it. I think Bruce Willis needs to be in it.
No.
He's been in.
He's already, like, he's had his turn.
Oh.
I mean, Christ, he's been in like 3 of them
He's
already.
one of Shyamalan's biggest defenders, though. I think he needs to have a he needs to feature in it.
Okay.
I think.
Could Vin Diesel be his son?
Why is Vin Diesel in this now?
Well, because.
Well, you know.
No, but
What? No.
Okay. What? No.
If I disagree with anything, I'm just gonna impersonate Mark Wahlberg.
Sick. Okay.
Cool. Bryce Dallas Howard could make it as well. She's been in 2 of his films.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but we'll cast as we go along.
Yeah.
But let's keep these guys in mind while we're doing it. Okay, Oscar, pitch what you have.
So, it's like this weird compound, okay? I know that should actually have been a quintessence, like weird mental asylum compounds. But it's another one of those, except you're not entirely sure what it is. It starts off inside of the compound. Now, throughout the film, you never ever see the outside. And it's just full of children. It's full of these kids.
Smart kids, I assume.
Yeah, very smart kids.
outrageously smart.
Yeah, like pretty insanely smart kids.
Yeah.
Who all miraculously know how to act.
Oh, we really are in fancy land
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
aren't we, lads?
Well, the lead kid needs to get an Oscar nominee, or not get an Oscar nominee, but get close to it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. So I'll let you go on. Sorry.
Yeah. So then, I think they're all kind of like around 10 to 12 years old, and the compound is staffed by these masked individuals who are wearing all white. And the masks don't have any like eye holes or anything, and they've got like capes on, effectively. And they provide new toys for the for all of the kids, and they feed the kids and do all that stuff, and like put books in their rooms, and they have to learn everything themselves. So then the thing about the kids is that they all of them have like some sort of a weird defect. So maybe one of them, he's like our central protagonist, he's missing an eye, and he's got like sandy blonde hair and like a deep dark green right eye. And then you've got like a whole cast of characters who all have like weird defects. Like one of them, he's kind of got elephant man syndrome. So like his nose is like weird and tuberous. And he's got like weird ears as well. So he's like horrifically ugly. But then the thing is, each of the children, they have some sort of a weird power that they can use to shape reality. But all of the staff members of this compound, they're very, very intent on repressing those powers, obviously. And when the powers are repressed, they hurt the kids. So like they get nosebleeds, and like maybe their arm like bends backwards and shatters the bone or something like that. So they're like punished for that. So then our lead character, let's call him like Oliver or something like that. Him and the other characters, they're trying to figure out a way to rescue one of their compatriots who was trying to use their powers, but it was taken away to like a special room that no one ever comes back from. So they're trying to. So it's like kind of Home Alone-esque. They're using all of the different tools that they have available in some of their powers to like maybe enchant the objects so that the object has some sort of a use that wouldn't be immediately apparent. So like a pencil that if it's picked up, then the lead kind of like shoots out of it and then shoots down into the wrist or something like that. So they use all of those powers and objects that they can to try and rescue their friend. And then they manage to get out of the room that they're all in. And this is where M. Night's cameo comes in. So he's like this bald man, completely bald shaven guy in like a black suit, who then starts to talk to all of the kids and like help them out and try and get them to rise up. And then the kids, they succeed. And then they fight against the staff and like brutally murder all of them effectively. They leave the compound finally, and it's shown that it's in hell. And then and then as each child steps out of the compound, they grow back into an adult from the form that they had been forced into. So then Oliver, he's actually Odin. and each of the different children are like one of the like a pagan god from some pantheon, and then they wage war on God himself as they they leave hell from through Jacob's ladder, and then M. Night Shyamalan plays the devil.
I guess that.
Yeah. And they start to wage a war on God. So what do you think?
It's not the way I thought it was going to go.
I guess that's the point of a
safe
twist.
To say, I was going for a much more tongue-in-cheek angle with it, actually. I liked it right up until they escape the facility, right?
Okay.
Here's where mine diverges, right? Yeah. So they escape the facility, quote unquote, only to find out it's a facility inside a facility.
Oh no!
And then the stuff with the face, with the masks that you can't see their face, they remove the mask and they're all copies of Shyamalan. They're an army of Shyamalan clones, and from then each one painfully expositions the entire audience as to the secret evil plan that kept them within the facility. And then a bunch of kids just start dropping dead at random
because the wind blew too hard. Yeah, they're like, oh no!
And then Mark Wahlberg is seeing this all on a CCTV screen, just going, "What? No!"
That was his revenge on the kids because they didn't want to learn about science, guys.
And then the final twist is the camera panning out to Shyamalan watching the potential film and going, "Thank fuck I never made that."
Jesus Christ.
It'd be like a Monty Python or a Mel Brooks movie where it just comes out and you realise they're on a set all this time.
So which way are we going for? Are we going for a good Shyamalan film or a really intentionally shit?
I think to get the balance right, it has to be really good up until that twist. So I think all the stuff in the facility is really good, and then I love your twist.
Yeah.
And then that's when just everything goes to shit, basically.
It is the ultimate Shamageddon, basically.
Yeah.
It's the culmination of all of the worst parts of his filmmaking.
I think that's good, and I love if we stick in as many references to his other films, so that happening reference is great. Can one of the kids be the kid from The Sixth Sense who can see dead people, but everyone thinks he's crazy, kind of thing?
Yeah.
Maybe.
So where are we? Okay.
Because I think that because we did this with our Nick Cage one, we just put every movie into it. By the end.
Then why are the kids in the facility in the first place?
Well, like you said, they've all got kind of some unique power, a bit like Unbreakable.
Yeah.
But a bit like Glass, there are people who are trying to suppress this kind of thing. And then because Shyamalan doesn't know what he's doing, like with most of his movies, that's why we get this completely crazy ending, which he eventually watches back and goes, you know what, maybe I won't make this terrible movie and I'll make something else.
Yeah.
You know?
And maybe if we wanted to make it even more tongue-in-cheek, you could have James McAvoy on the tannoid, who keeps not deciding what voice he's going to use, so he just sounds like the Horde.
Obviously.
Oh, maybe we hear someone like a Dennis or a Patricia character over the tannoy all the time. And it's like they're the evil person, and every now and again Hedwig pops up and he's like, oh, I've hacked the tannoy kind of thing, and I'm trying to help you guys. And then the twist is revealed, they were all the same person all along.
They are the Horde.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
And then that person pulls their face off and it's revealed to be Shyamalan underneath.
Jesus Christ.
I really quite like this, actually.
Yeah, can we copyright this?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's patent this stuff.
Before let's make sure we've got all our quintessences. Okay, so too much is happening at once in this
absolutely.
movie. So that's good. The great lead performance. We've got a good kid actor in mind.
What about the kid from Stranger Things and It?
He's good right now.
Finn Wolfhard.
All right, let's chuck him in as the lead.
He's the only kid actor I see, and I don't want to punch in the face.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, he's a good actor to put in. They're all these kids are smart. We're gonna have a character who is very racist, or is a very racist stereotype.
Could have the assistant to the masked people being a very generic Asian stereotype.
No, it has to be one of the kids who's really racist.
Okay,
the
kid from The Last Airbender who was meant to be Asian but wasn't Asian.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so he's in it.
Yeah.
Playing the same character,
but with a really bad accent.
Yeah. Should we put that in?
Sure.
Okay. And he can do some cliche exposition while he's at it.
Yeah. exposition dumps are all around this movie, particularly at the end.
Yeah.
The cameo I love, where Shyamalan is everyone and himself at the end as well. I think the first half of this movie needs to be actually pretty decent, so we could have lots of slow,
we sort of
creepy...
had that slow realization of why the kids are there,
and a lot of
who the people are,
and a lot of
like that.
creepy cinematography used. Is that on board with what you were thinking, Oscar?
I don't know. I think it's pretty far from what I'd originally intended.
I was about to say, you're kind of looking and you're like,
so I'm
they're
like,
ruining my baby.
Look, like it's kind of like Home Alone come It, I guess. So like it's there's this funny part of like all of the kids like creating all of these weird traps to for all of the staff to spring, and sometimes they work. And the kids are like, yeah, but then sometimes like the trap goes off and then no one's there. And then they'll be like, wait, what happened? And then like a staff member will like rise up behind them and then like reveal under their cloak there's like this multi-limbed thing that like grabs them and scratches them or something like that. And it's like, ah! And they're running from it.
Does that multi-limbed creature thing have a weird name like a snarf or a grunt?
Dude, it's a
should.
It's a grunk.
It's a grunk. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. And then our main character has a lot of self-doubt. Right, so he's like being pushed to become the leader.
Yeah, exactly.
But he doesn't want to accept responsibility because he's fearful that he'll get everyone killed, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. We've got the twist that is just crazy, and not in a good way. I think for this movie.
This is not the perfect Shyamalan film.
No, but
this
think
is
it
it's
is.
not.
Because we said,
really.
we said a twist at either the benefit or the cost of the film.
Oh, fair enough.
Like it's got to be like as long as it changes the context of the film, and I think having this twist where Shyamalan is dismissive of this movie at the end, which is he's never dismissive of a movie.
I mean, this is pure fantasy because he would never do this in real life.
Of course he wouldn't. No.
What are we missing?
Last after sucking the life out of the movie. Still
could have really long tracking shots of hallways, just all the hallways. Yeah. Make like glass and just have really slow panning shots of blank like surfaces.
A full 20 minutes of literally nothing happening, basically.
Just a combined 20 minutes of scenery shots.
Yeah.
Effectively.
I think that could be
like, really bump up the Asylum tourist board.
Sure.
Yeah. Obviously a great score from James Newton Howard. How are we squeezing Bruce Willis, Joaquin Phoenix, and Ed all into this?
Well, my idea of it was that they were going to be the adult forms, right?
So Bruce Willis would be Odin, obviously. Or am I alone in that?
No.
Because out of the people we named,
he would be like a fucking Zeus character or something like that. He would just be
Well, Zeus and Odin are kind of the same.
No, they're not. No, they're not. No.
Kin of the gods kind
Don't
of thing.
talk about something you don't understand, Callum.
Okay.
Whoa.
Don't do that.
Hey. I read Percy Jackson.
I've seen the Avengers. I know.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my god, guys, come on.
Loki just had massive daddy issues.
That's all there was. Okay.
So
and Thor loves the immigrant son. Yeah, I know my shit. No, but like, I'm not going to get into an argument about Greek mythology with you.
I would like
Scandinavian
to before the sun
mythology
comes back up.
That's a fair point. How will we put these actors into this
I don't know.
movie?
How will you do this?
It's on me now, is it?
To be fair, you've been dragging your feet a little bit in the story writing process, I must say.
Hey, I've added in my contributions. Hey, I want to get this wrapped up as well.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just stirring shit now.
maybe the people, because the people reveal their masks, don't they? Who they take off their masks every now and again. So maybe all these different people are the different big name actors. And then it's only when they get outside the facility does everyone like unmask themselves again. Kind of in the Village way, where there's a lot of unmasking these monsters. And there's like a double unmasking and they will be Shyamalan.
Dude, this is such a shit idea. What the are you doing?
And that is what someone should have said to M. Night when he pitched Lady in the Water.
Exactly.
And therefore it makes it the perfect movie.
Yeah.
So we've
Because
at once we have created the next Shyamalan masterpiece and a job opportunity for Oscar.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
But I feel that here's the thing. It's not like with the Nolan one where we had to make a good movie because Nolan would make a good movie.
Yeah.
We could make this terrible or amazing or a mixture of the two.
Oh, that's true.
And I think actually when you watch the first, let's say this is a 2-hour movie, when you watch the first hour and 40, you are generally riveted and thrilled and creeped out by this movie. And it's only when you get to those last 20 minutes where everything goes wrong in a bit like a Village way or a Signs way or whichever comparison you want to make. And then that's what makes a true Shyamalan film. Really good until the final act where
it's essentially the film version of Icarus, isn't it? It starts out flying towards the sun, towards greatness, and then one twist later, it's plummeting towards the sea.
Oh, no. I couldn't disagree with you guys more. But oh well.
But here's the thing, if
Let's,
we go with your pitch of they rise up to hell, people are going to think that's shit as well. No offense.
That's fair.
I think it's a good idea. I also feel in a bit like we're in the modern world kind of way. It's just going to be a step too far for people. And I feel that if we're going to go a step too far like we should, we need to go even more bonkers.
Okay, fair enough.
And so I feel we've got like a bit of everything now in this movie.
Yeah.
You know,
so how are Bruce Willis and Joaquin Phoenix and the rest of our cast members going to come in?
Well, we just have them like walk past like the camera as like a hi guys kind of cameo.
Yeah.
Like they'll do like a panning shot of the road, and like Joaquin Phoenix is walking next door to him, and they're just, both crossing the road like Beatles style.
Or maybe the title card rolls at the end, and then we cut to a diner, and they're all sitting there, and they're all just like, the Shyamalan, we gotta take him down.
Sick. What are we?
Should we actually do that? Then?
Yeah, let's do that. So what are we calling it?
Oh God. This is a good start.
Looking at all his movie titles, they're all kind of ambiguous, but also not. Like they're ambiguous when you first look at it, but when you watch the movie, it makes sense, kind of thing. Like you look at a title like The Happening, and then you realise everyone keeps saying The Happening in the movie. Like, what is happening?
Right.
This is happening. So
Facade. I mean, if you're having like the big reveal at the end,
there's all the masks and stuff, isn't there?
I don't know. Facade's probably a weak title, but
how about A Waste?
Because
with the twist at the end, he's just like, yeah, this was a waste of my time.
Waste. And maybe the facility is called waste facility or something. I don't know what it's. Well, that doesn't make sense, does it? No.
And what do we then have a tracking shot of every?
Well, why would you call it? Yeah, why would you? No, I like A Waste.
Shamception.
Maybe no. Well, we're playing to being self-indulgent, I guess.
Maybe Spilt.
Spilt. Oh, I like Spilt. And there's lots of glasses of water in this facility.
Yeah, exactly. They're all knocked over.
Yes.
No, it's milk. It has to be milk.
No, there's already a film called Milk, though.
No.
There's
glasses of milk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's a whole plot point of it because like it has something to do with the symbolism of the whole thing being white. You know. Oh.
That's your best Shyamalan?
Well, no, that wasn't.
Just to give the movie critic something to wax lyrical over for a few hours.
So Spilt, then, I think we're going with.
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan Spilt.
Coming to a theatre near you.
In January, probably. Oh, one thing we haven't done, the trailer.
Okay, so it's a slow-paced thriller.
Yeah.
With a bizarre twist at the end. So we should pitch it as a romance film set in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
With Will Smith as the lead.
Yes.
And Shyamalan should not be mentioned at all.
Yeah.
Shyamalan's either the biggest name on the poster or the smallest one.
Yeah.
No, but okay.
Actually, let's make him the biggest one.
The grand return of M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
From the man who made great films, then shit films, then great films again.
And then
M. Night Shyamalan.
And then this shit.
Yeah.
And you have to.
And then you just splice the trailer like midway through the film, like into say that the kids they see like a TV for the first time, like, wow, what's that? Click. and then it's the trailer for the film.
And you have to have that generic "in a world" kind of voice.
Exactly. Yes. Oh.
In a world where Shyamalan is given complete creative control of one fucking thing.
No.
It comes Spilt.
Fucking Spilt. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I think we've made it, lads.
I think that's really good.
Okay.
I've got nothing else to add. You know, I think this is...
All I can add is thank you for having me. And
no problem, Max! We love you!
I love you too!
Honor. It was an honor.
And thank you very much for listening to my whining voice for 2 hours or however long this podcast winds up being.
Yeah. It's no, dude. We're cutting this down. This is 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
I'm fully expecting to be axed 100% from this.
Okay. Well, that was us. Thank you so much for listening to TPMP. I have been your host, Oscar Olesen.
I have been Callum McAvoy.
And that guy, Max Pearson.
Sick. Remember, we love you very, very much. Goodbye.